Okay, and welcome. This is part 2 of the IRS Fresh Start program, IRSMedic Tax Amnesty Myths. And that's, if you did not review our overview, that was in part 1. But here we're going to go into some of the myths that we have, and joining me is our tax resolution team, Jillian Terrell, Michelle Wynn, Bob Lyon, Tim Pippi, and Michelle Palmieri. So let's talk about the IRS Fresh Start program. Yes, for me, I think this is a wonderful, wonderful name. I do enjoy marketing, and I would say, wow, what a great name that is. IRS Fresh Start, right? Start the day off new and begin again. Who thinks that it is actually a fresh start here?
No one?
Nobody. No one.
Okay, nobody here agrees it's a fresh start. Does it make any of the work easier?
It really doesn't. In fact, it really just kind of masks the complexity of the work that surrounds, resolving an IRS tax issue, and really kind of gives a nice cover letter to something that is still going to be a headache, and still may require some legal assistance to resolve.
Michelle Palmieri, I have a question for you. Thank you very much, Tim. Michelle Palmieri, I have a question for you. The IRS Fresh Start program, for you in your daily routine when this came out, how did it change the steps we use to resolve tax debts? How did it change? Did it throw a big monkey wrench in everything we were doing and we had to come up with a new way?
Not really, because we still have to complete the same work for every client that comes through our doors, see what their financial situation is, and so there's really no less work on our end, really.
Now, are there any guarantees?
No, nothing is really a guarantee with the IRS.
Okay. Now, something you asked, you were wanting to tell me before is that, for a lot of people, now they're favorable rules, and I think there's favorable guidelines, but none of us here are going to say they're a magic wand. Michelle Wynn, could you tell us about interest abatement under the IRS Fresh Start program?
There is none.
There is none? Well, then tell us about penalty abatement. Is there a magic wand for penalty abatement?
Nope, the Fresh Start program does nothing for penalties.
It does? Oh, really? Okay. And I think one of the other things we talked about is defaults may frustrate the program uses, which most people don't know, is they're not in current compliance. They really can't use the program. The other thing is, don't expect the IRS to know the rules, right? We can't expect the IRS to know the rules, and so sometimes, I remember, Bob, I just overheard you on the phone the other day. You slowly explained the rules as nicely as you could to a collection officer. Do you recall what you were talking about?
I do. The IRS agents that we speak to on a daily basis know what they know and not much else, and the Internal Revenue Code is complicated. In this case, I was speaking to an IRS agent about state liabilities and payments to state revenue authorities being counted or taken into account when negotiating payment agreements with the IRS. And that was something that the agent was not familiar with, so we had to explain to her what the proper procedure was in accounting for that.
And that's right. The IRS, you cannot expect the person you're talking with, the IRS, to actually understand the IRS Fresh Start program, let alone the IRM or the tax code. One of the things is, how is this done? How has the Fresh Start sped things up for us? Can we think of anything where the IRS Fresh Start program has sped up resolution for our clients?
I think we've definitely seen speed up time in the acceptance of offers, working through some of our installment agreements as well. But still, in dealing with the IRS, nothing happens immediately, nothing happens overnight. There is still a waiting game, and you need to make sure that once you enter into the Fresh Start program that you have the motivation to follow through with full resolution, and not lose your speed after the first couple phone calls trying to work yourself into a collection alternative.
Well, thanks, Tim. And one of the things I forgot to mention in part 1 was one of the other pressures the IRS has in collections, and then one of the reasons I think they came out with the IRS Fresh Start program is Chapter 7 bankruptcy is a fantastic way to discharge old personal tax debts. Now, it doesn't work in every case, but when you're discharging taxes, in tax court, that's something the IRS really doesn't have too much control over. That's a federal judge. And so they don't really like it. And people are becoming more aware that bankruptcy may be an option for certain types of old tax debts. So that's why the IRS is sort of, enticing you, right? Maybe you want to use this program as opposed to filing bankruptcy. And of course, bankruptcy does have some disadvantages to it. There's really no way around that. One of the other things is, again, we're talking about current compliance. The IRS does a horrible job of explaining to people that they need to be in current compliance and will bait people into, and we're going to see that in, I think, part 4 or 5, when we're going to talk about installment agreements, where they bait people into not being compliant in order to take one of the Fresh Start installment agreements. Now, for some reason here, I have something about state versus federal amnesty. I have no idea why I put this down.
Actually, you added this because a lot of people are under the assumption that the Fresh Start program is some sort of amnesty program where their taxes or penalties will be waived or something like that. You see this a lot with states. The states will often institute an amnesty program that if you come forward in, for a period of 3 to 6 months, they'll remove all penalties, perhaps lower the interest rates, as long as you pay your taxes in full within a certain period of time. The federal government never does this. Never does this sort of amnesty program where they will waive the penalties and interest.
Thank you for the save and shell win. All right, I knew there must have been a reason for that. And that a lot of states, they can't print their own money. Well, actually, they just can't. It's not the law. So states really need the money. So they will act a little bit more like a private collector, whereas the federal government will never take a deal, because once they do, then people are going to expect that in the future. And why bother? They don't really need the money. They can just print more. So with that, we're going to move on to our next part. Is going to be part 3 of the IRS Fresh Start program. We're going to talk about guidelines. This is Anthony Parent for Parent and Win Resolution Team, and we'll see you on the other side.